Hi, my name is Shayna, and I'd like to welcome you to my brand new podcast, Elevate Your Everyday. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Elevate Your Everyday with me, your host, Shayna Purcell. It's me. And I'm here in this quaint little setup that is a little different than what we usually do. But today's topics, I felt needed to be a little bit more on the intimate side. So we transformed, I didn't do anything. Oliver transformed the studio into this cute little cozy area for me to talk to you guys. Today I wanted to get a little real and get a little emotional, maybe more so me than you. Just to talk about my story and more of what has shaped me to be the woman that I am today. And I'm still evolving into that woman. I was just having a conversation with somebody today about how, you can still be my age and not know what you want to be when you grow up. And she's much younger. And I was telling her, you just got to live your life and take every chance you can get. And I feel like through all of the things that I have been through, that's definitely resonated highly. So trauma, when we talk about trauma, what is trauma? It's going through something that is going to transform your life in one way or another. It could be a very specific, huge event. It could be small. It could be something, conflict with another person that causes an impact on your life. I don't know that that's the exact definition of trauma. I didn't look it up in the dictionary, but that is my definition of it. And people that are fortunate enough to go through their lives without experiencing some form of trauma are very, very lucky people. Most people have experienced some sort of trauma. And like I said, it could come in many different forms. I have been through quite a few things. First of them being I am a 3-time Boston marathoner. And my first marathon ever was the Boston Marathon. And I did all of them for charitable causes, not qualifying over here at all. But I am wearing my 2023 pants right now. But I never thought that my first marathon that I ever ran would be that year of the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. And many of you that I know and, other podcasts I've been on and I think another video that I had done with a friend kind of talks more about that experience. So I won't spend a lot of time there, but I was 3 miles away when it happened and they let us keep running. So we didn't know what was going on. So very fortunately, I was not at the finish line when it happened. Though once we figured out everything that was going on and the fallback from that event really had a hard impact on me. I was completely out of it for like the week following after until they figured out what had happened. They finally found the Tsarnaev brother. And I just was, that is a time that, thank God, I wasn't at a bad place. Like, I wasn't at the finish line when the bombing happened, but it doesn't mean that it didn't affect me in some way. I was very traumatized by that. And even with that happening, they invited us to, the ones that didn't finish and to come back and run the following year. And you would think that that would be really hard for somebody to come back and run it again, especially after the year prior, what had happened. And especially since, there was always speculation of copycat things happening. And there was an insane amount of police and SWAT presence everywhere. It was bananas, but we still did it and we got to cross that finish line. And there was nothing more thrilling than actually finishing a marathon, which if you've ever done that before, then you know that feeling after all of that training. And some of you that are training with me right now will know that feeling very soon. And then I decided to go back in 2023 and fundraise for a different charity and do it again for the 10-year anniversary. And in my life, if you had asked me at 10 years old if I thought I would ever run 3 marathons in my life, all of them being Boston, I would never have believed you. I have chronic asthma. I didn't do sports as a kid. I was a dancer. So just, that in itself just goes to show that anybody can do anything that they put their mind to. It's all in the training. It's all in the mindset and everything. But that definitely, I can't say that from that experience, I have, a little fear and anxiety around big crowds around, even running again 2 years ago. I was like, it's the 10-year anniversary. Is this going to happen again? So trauma, even though that was 12 years ago, I can't do math. It still affects me. I'll still never forget that feeling of when we found out about it and all the, walking around Boston, trying to get back to where we were and all the stuff that will never leave me. That's a part of me. It changed me. And then a few years later, 2016-ish, decided to take a girls trip, and we were going to Fort Lauderdale. And when it was icy leaving. I think it was like January or February, and it was icy leaving. So we had to wait, and we were delayed, and they de-iced the plane. And so there was a delay. And when we landed, we saw these ambulances and fire trucks, and they weren't letting us like get off the plane. We kind of were just circling the whole, what's that called? Like landing area. And we didn't know what it was. And they wouldn't quite say on the airplane like what was going on, but they said we had to like wait until they were able to let us get off the plane. So after a while, they finally let us get off the plane, and we were in the airport, and there was a threat of an active shooter in the airport. And all I remember was turning around and seeing a sea of people, like, like it's like in an airport, like, when it's like slanted and it's like wide, and, when you go from like terminal to terminal, and there was a sea of people just running, screaming at the top of their lungs. And I was with friends, and we literally were like, what? And we turned around, and somebody like pushed us into a bathroom and told us to hide in the stalls. And, there was a shooting that day, but they thought there was like another person there. So we had just missed the shooting by like minutes, but they still let us off the plane. I still don't get that. Whatever. They still let us get in the airport. Then it was just somebody panicking that, they thought they heard a gunshot or whatever. And it just ensued complete panic. But we were in the stall in the bathroom hiding. And I remember there was like a college sports team in there with us, and none of us knew what to do. We had no idea what do you think? And then they got us into a store. They brought the little chain link thing, and we had to hide in the store while there was like police everywhere outside, and SWAT and dogs and everybody like outside. And we had to wait, and then we were on lockdown at the airport until they finally got the all clear for us to leave at like 1 a.m. And we were there. I think we got there at like, sometime fairly early in the morning. So I already had a fear of flying. So I'm just giving this to you as another example of a traumatic experience I've been through. That fortunately I wasn't there for the actual event. But that will still always have an impact on me. I still like think about it when I'm in airports, which is not often because I don't travel very much, but just another, thing that has shaped me and how I think about things. And it just causes a little bit more anxiety when you're places. And then my last traumatic story. So when this episode airs, it'll be a day before my 1-year anniversary of this happening. I was sitting on my couch on a Saturday night waiting for my husband to come home with dinner. And I hadn't been feeling great a couple of days before, and hadn't been working because I didn't feel good. And it's hard to talk about. Still is. I felt like I was going to be sick. And the next thing I knew, I like ran to the bathroom. And the next thing I knew, I woke up on the bathroom floor. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, did I not eat enough today? Like, am I, at one point in my life, I was hypoglycemic. It means low blood sugar. So I was like, is my blood sugar low? So I went upstairs and talked to my daughter, and she was like, Mom, that doesn't sound right. Like, I feel like you need to do something about this. You need to go to the doctor. And I was like, me being me, I'm like, no, it's nothing. It's fine. It's nothing. And I tried to like play it off, but I felt weird and I felt off and I felt so dizzy and I didn't know what was going on. And then my husband came home and he was like, what's going on? And I told him, and I was like, I truly think we need to go. So very long story short, I ended up going into cardiac arrest at the hospital. I had told myself I wasn't going to cry. I had, they had to administer CPR, and I fortunately do not remember any of this. I was actually told at a much later time, because it was a combination of a bunch of things, and one of them being electrolyte deficiency. My electrolytes were almost completely depleted, and I had the flu and I didn't know it, and just a bunch of other things. So they had to, just CPR. If you've ever had to administer it or you've ever been trained on it, you know what that is. So they airlifted me. That's right, airlifted me, the girl that hates planes, doesn't like to fly, to Beth Israel in Boston. And I was in the ICU for 5 days. And they decided to give me a subcutaneous ICD, which is an internal defibrillator. It's right here, right underneath my armpit, like kind of in my lat. We had long conversations with Boston Scientific about which one they were going to give me. They basically call it a life insurance policy, because if my heart was ever to go into that deadly rhythm again, it would kick in. I had to do what you would call a stress test. While I was, after this had all happened. So I had been in a hospital bed for about 5 days. They had given me a pacemaker, through my neck. I remember my dad said he came to the hospital. I looked like Frankenstein because I had so many tubes coming in and out of me. And they had to see what my capacity was on the treadmill. And actually they used my Garmin data, to help figure out what my threshold would be at, what my normal heart rate or my working heart rate during exercise would be, because I had never had an EKG done before. So they had nothing to go by. So they actually used my Garmin data as help to figure out what my threshold would be. So they know that if I get beyond a certain number, that's when then it's like warning. And then if I went beyond that, then I would be shocked. But the doctors that I had at Beth Israel and at Lawrence General, the doctors I had at Lawrence General and nurses were amazing. They were so amazing. And we went back to visit them not too long ago. And I got to see the doctor and the nurses that helped me. And I got to give them a hug. And, just nurses and doctors, are obviously, go through a lot of
training and schooling and everything um, to get to where they are. And they obviously are very, well compensated for what they do, but they're just real people and they work really hard and really long hours and have to see a lot of scary things and a lot of bad things. And it's so nice to have been able to say thank you to them. So I had amazing care there. I also had amazing care at Beth Israel, and I still do. My cardiologists are amazing. Um, and beyond all that, I was in the hospital for a total of 8 days, and I came home and I I am so sorry that I'm crying. This is like I was like, I'm gonna be so good and not cry, but you know, this is what trauma does to you. Um, I was in the hospital for 8 days and I was so afraid. I have so many scars from like, IVs and from my pacemaker and, obviously where my ICD is. Um, but it was the real healing was when I got home. And I didn't realize what a toll it was going to take on me, not just physically, but mentally, because I was terrified to do anything. And I did have quite a few setbacks. I had to go back to the ER a few times, was ambulanced one time. And the main point of this whole story, there's a few points of the story, but is that I didn't realize how unreal anxiety is. So while I was healing physically, which was hard enough because I was scared to walk to the bathroom, never mind like walk to the mailbox. My anxiety was so bad. And I think before that, like, how easily we throw around the word anxiety, we'd be like, oh, that gives me anxiety. Like, I will never use that term unless I mean it ever again. Because until you know what anxiety feels like you'll never understand. You can be anxious about things, like things make you anxious, but having anxiety and trying to figure out how to manage it and deal with it, it's a tough road. Um, I was very fortunate to have not one but two amazing therapists. I still have one, and she's actually a cardiac therapist, so she deals with cardiac patients that have gone through similar or other different types of cardiac trauma. And for a long time, I couldn't even talk about it without crying. I couldn't even do blood work without going into a full I have videos of my legs like going into full shake mode because my that's how my body would react, like physically react to anxiety. Um so we talk about mental health and I'm going to have a mental health professional on to dive deeper into the importance of mental health because it doesn't have to be just from traumatic experiences. Mental health can be affected by everyday life, which I think was happening to me too. And I just didn't know it. I wasn't taking good care of myself. And I know there's others of you out there that do the exact same thing. Go here, pick up this kid there, work out, drop this kid off. Oh, I got to do work. Oh, wait, have I eaten anything today? Oh, wait, it's 11 o'clock. I haven't. Okay, I'm going to eat like handful of Cheez-Its. Oh, did I drink water yet today? Better have a little bit of water. Like, no, you can't. If you're living like that right now, stop it. Stop it. Because you don't realize how much damage you're putting on your body until the universe tells you to cut it out. And that's what happened to me. And fortunately, so fortunately, God giving me a second chance, at life again. Like I was not ready. I was here, I feel like I'm here for a reason. And I feel like part of that reason is why I decided to do this podcast and tell my story, but also try to help others through my experience and through the other like professionals that I want to have on. And I don't want it to all be like Debbie Downer because it's not. I do have like positive things to say, but I wanted you to know that when you see me, typically I'm very like bubbly, happy, you know, s- you know, just in a good mood. And sometimes you don't know what others are going through or have gone through in their lives. So just remember that, when you're interacting with people, always be kind because you don't know what someone has gone through that day. And even though they exude bright shininess on the outside doesn't necessarily mean that it's all bright and shiny on the inside. And check in on your friends because if they're going through a hard time, they might not want the help. I went through it was it was 5 months of dark, and I pushed a lot of people away, and it's because I just didn't know how to deal with it. I had to process everything for myself. But I learned through that like, be there for your people, and if they don't want you right there right now, like right by you or by your side, or they don't call you or text you all the time, it doesn't mean that they don't love you and they don't want you there. It's just that they're working through something right now. But never give up on your friends that are going through hard times. Because I've said this already this week, storms can't last forever. The sun will shine again. They physically can't. No storm can last 365 days. No storm can last that long. Eventually the sun will have to shine. So, just give yourself grace, and to the people that support you, like, let them know that you just need time, and I wasn't really good about that. Once I started to feel a little bit better, I was a little bit more open about that. Um, but it took time, and it does take time going through anything. And it doesn't even have to be that specific or dramatic as my experiences were. It could be much smaller, but it could be big to you. You know what I mean? Um, and I wrote like my little notes on my iPad. Um, I think that we need to let the negative things that happen in our lives shape us in a positive way. Let those give you growth. I grew a lot over the past year. I can't even believe it's going to be a year. Like it literally boggles my mind how quickly that year went. And I know it was because half the time I spent recovering, and then the other half I spent thriving because I didn't give up on myself, and people didn't give up on me. And new people that came into my life gave me a chance. And, my family and my friends were so supportive. And, you know, some friends push you a little harder, and that's good. Gotta shout out to those friends that push you out of your comfort zone, because sometimes that's where you need to be for the change to happen. Um, so I wanted to say, like, I'm inspired every day by things I see and things I read and by people in general. Like, you're on social media, you read things, you see things. Like, so inspired by people doing things little and big every day, and what they accomplish, what they survive, and how they thrive, all of that. Women that have beat cancer and now going out to run more marathons, people that have built businesses from scratch and are killing it, people that take a chance on themselves and just go for it in whatever capacity that may be. Um, what I found by opening up and sharing my stories and putting myself out there more on social media, which wasn't easy for me at first. I feel like I'm getting more confident and better. Obviously, I'm here having my own podcast. So, you know, the people that are like my followers on social media or whatever, who are actually made up of 95% my friends and family, or they're people that I've known for 5 months, or people that I've known most of my life. Even if I don't talk to them every day, or I haven't talked to them in years, my trials and tribulations, my struggles, my successes, my overcoming challenges and persevering, they identify with it because everyone has gone through something. And it doesn't have to be the same thing, but no matter how big or how small that something is, we've all gone through shit. No life on this earth is perfect. And we all know that. And if you don't know that, you should, because nobody is perfect. I don't care who you think you are. I have no space in my life for egos and entitlement. So humble yourself and know that everybody has their own shit to deal with and to overcome. Everybody has something that they've gone through. Um, I've had people reach out to me and praise my content or thank me for sharing something and say, you inspired me to do this or this. And you know what? That's what makes my world spin around, helping others. And again, that's why I wanted to create this podcast, because somebody can take some little tidbit of information or something I say or one of my guests say, and that could just change, like a light bulb might go off. And they might go, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Or, oh, maybe I should try that. Um, I get to help people every day for my clients and my members at LFG. I get to do it for my kids when they're, having trouble in school or they're having friend trouble or whatever. I get to do it for people I went to high school with that I haven't seen in years. And I get to do it for people that I don't even know. Some of these people that follow me that I don't really even know that well have reached out to me and been like, thank you for saying this, or, way to go on this. And, it's just, when I was at my lowest low, I never dreamed that I would be able to be in such a position again to help others. And I just wanted to take it to the next level, which is ultimately why I'm talking to you today. I love what I do. I love what I get to do every day. I love my people. And you know it. You know that. If you're one of my people, you know how much I love you and how I just want to squeeze you. That's why I hug everybody at the gym. This is who I am and this is who I've always been. My dad will tell you, my mom will tell you, I haven't changed since I was 3 years old. And anyone that has tried to position me otherwise, I guess never really knew me at all. Because not everyone is meant to love everything about you or everything you have to say or, things you post or identify with things that I believe in. And I'm not looking for everyone to think I'm an expert or think I'm right, because I'm not always right. That's not how I want to come off as. But my goal is, if I can help one single person, even if I don't know about it, that's all that matters to me. And I'm good with that. Because often the most powerful tool that you have is your perspective. So be gentle with yourself and focus on the small empowering things that you can do to elevate your every day. I just want to make sure that you understand that you should never hesitate to start something new or go for something different when, halfway through your life. Like, make a change if it's not making you happy. You know, think about what in your life is doing you a disservice and get rid of it. Just, I'm not trying to go all Mel Robbins here, but like It's true. Like, if there are things in your life that are not bringing you joy, why are you doing it? Or why are they in your life? Or why are you going there? Or why, you know what I mean? We only have one life, and you should take such good care of it. And you should take such good care of yourself. That's why I preach about health and wellness and fitness, because moving your body, no matter how old you are, getting your electrolytes, drinking your water, eating the good food, eating ice cream, whatever it is you want to do, everything in moderation. Somebody posted a cherry dip from Dairy Queen yesterday, and I was like, I could really go for that right now. So I just want you to know that no matter how bad it gets, it doesn't last forever. You ultimately have the power to make that change. If you're going through something difficult, let it happen. Go through it. You got to go through the hard shit and get on the other side. It's as simple as what I tell people when, in the gym. You have to try a little harder every day, 1% better every day to get that much stronger. If this is your goal, this is how we're going to get there. Let's fucking go. Let's do it. Don't hold back just because you think you can't. Because if I did that, I wouldn't have ran a marathon. I wouldn't have started this podcast. I, wouldn't be so fortunate to be at LFG. I wouldn't know half the people I know because I wouldn't have the balls to go up and talk to them. You know what I mean? So I just want you to take my positivity for whatever it is. Take my kindness for whatever it is. It's real. As long as you're real with yourself and you're good with what you do every day, that's all that matters. As long as you can live with the decisions that you make, that's all that matters. I wasn't taking good care of myself. I learned the really hard way. And I will forever preach that to people. I may be a little over the top about it, and that's okay. But I just want to make sure that those that I care about don't end up in a bad situation like I did. And I don't know. I just feel like I was saying to one of my friends yesterday, I'm like, I don't want my content to ever come off as cheesy. I am the most authentic person you'll ever meet. I will tell you how it is. I am not the most confident person you'll ever meet, but I am authentic. And I don't want to ever come off as anything less than that. And she was like, no, 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 no. You're not this or that. You're not salesy. You're not cheesy. That's my fear of coming off like that. I share things because I think it's going to make you better, or it's going to give you an idea or inspire you to get up and go to the gym. Yeah. I posted that video of that cat coming at you at 90 miles an hour under the bed, looking for you to come to class today at 5 a.m. Yeah, that's silly. But I'm just kind of giving you that little elbow. You want to go to the gym in the morning. Let's get up, let's go, So I just wanted to do this episode as more or less a very honest and real, interaction with me, because not a lot of you know those things about me. And like I said, you see me at the gym or you see me wherever and you're oh, there's Shayna. You don't know all I've gone through. And you can say what you want about me, but I've gone through some shit. And it's made me a better person. It really has. And it sucked going through it. But sitting in this chair, look what Oliver did. Look at this cute set. There's a plant. It's pink. So, that's what's important. That is to me, I would have never, things just fall into place if they're meant to. I believe in things that are meant to be. And I'm trying to find my one little thing that I wrote here. there are a lot of quotes that like I'm a big quote person. Um, I wanted to share some quotes with you because I share quotes all the time on Instagram, you know what I mean? But like, okay, Franklin D. Roosevelt, classic. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. I mean, seriously, fear is like often our greatest barrier to progress. So acknowledge your fear, but don't let it control your actions. Take small steps forward, even when you're scared, right? So stare fear in the face and do this. Um, you know, overcoming hardships, like out of difficulties grow miracles. Every challenge holds a potential lesson or opportunity. You need to embrace the struggle as a transformative process, and that can lead to unexpected growth. So, like, difficulties could be anything, like, they could be a lot of things, but going through, like, we talked about transformation, like, growth comes from that transformation. Like, look how far you can come if you go through that. Um, that's another one I like. It's not the stress that kills us, it's our reaction to it. Mhm. Reframe your perception of anxiety and stress. Reframe it. Rather than viewing them as obstacles, see them as signals that can be managed through healthy coping mechanisms like breathing, relaxation, and perspective shifts. There are so many things we can do to hone in on our anxieties um, and stressors. So taking a beat before we let our anxiety take over. Um, I love this. Breathe. You're going to be okay. Sometimes it's simple reminders like that that are like the most powerful. Like seriously, breathe. Like I tell people in class, are you breathing? Breathe. Take a deep breath, stay present in where you are, and trust that things will unfold as they're meant to. Um, you are stronger than you think. I say that almost every day. Remind yourself of your inner strength, not just your physical strength, but your inner strength. You've overcome challenges before and you will again. Trust in your ability to navigate through tough times. Okay. And I love this one. The darkest hour only has 60 minutes. So true. It's like the Storm's quote. When you're going through a rough patch, remind yourself that time heals. Challenges often feel overwhelming in the moment, but they do pass and you will emerge stronger. So these are just some quotes I wanted to share with you because I share quotes all the time and I love when other people share quotes and I steal them and whatever. And it's such a great, like, not just me, I mean, memes too. You send your friends like 100 memes, but Jen, talking about you. Um, but like these quotes and advice can serve as guiding lights during times of fear, times of hardship, times of anxiety and pressure. And like I said, the most powerful tool you have is your perspective. What is your outlook on life? What is your perspective over this situation? Your mind is just as strong, if not stronger, than your body. Your mind can take over and wreak havoc if you let it. So just remember that when you feel like you can't do something or you're struggling, ask yourself, is it really that I can't do it? Or is it that I don't believe I can do it? Because if you believe in yourself half as much as the people that love you believe in you, then you can do anything. It's mind over matter. I say it all the time. It's so cheesy, but it's true. And I am just so thankful to have a platform to be able to say this to people and, you know, have them listen to it and be like, that's me. Like, that's totally me. Like, I get it. Like, Shayna, like, you're right on the money because we are all living the same lives, just different. You know, we all have such similar situations and everything. And again, maybe not as traumatic as the things I've gone through, but like, things like body image. Women, you're beautiful. I don't care what you think you look like. what you weigh. I don't eat. I do not care. I see when I look at you, I see you for you. I'm not looking at your cute outfit or like, what your hair looks like or whatever, or how much you weigh. Like I always tell people, do not look at the scale. The scale does not matter. How do you feel? How do your clothes fit? Like do you feel stronger? Like that's not what it's about. I preach this to my daughter as well. Like, you have to start thinking about this. Like if you've got younger girls at home too, even boys, like nobody cares. The only person that should care is you. Like nobody's paying attention to that shit. It's just, and if you are like, ew, or like, sorry, that's so like superficial. It's the superficial shit. And it's a thing as like, especially as women, like the stigma to be thin or to be fit or to be, not wrinkly. And, I already said to Oliver earlier, I'm like, can you edit this to not show my wrinkles? But he can't because you can only do that in photos, not live video. So sorry. But it's true. Like focus on the real things rather than the superficial things in your life, and focus on your family and friends. I've said it before, call your parents if you're fortunate to still have them. Same thing with grandparents. Call your sister, call your cousin, call your friends, get together, do all those things. Life goes by so fast, like in a blink of an eye. I remember my dad saying to me when I was little, you know, it goes by in a blink of an eye. And when Avery was dancing and he was at her recital, he's like, I feel like I just blinked and I was at your recital and now I'm at Avery's recital. And it's true. Like it goes by so fast. So you really need to take control of what you have control of and let the rest just happen, because what's meant to be will be. And these things that I've gone through have changed me. Like I said, there's Shayna before last year and there's Shayna now. And that was really hard to deal with in the beginning because I knew that nothing was ever going to be the same. And I hate change. Like I cry at the end of vacations and like hate change. And I think that's just a trait I get from the Harlow side. But, change is good and can be good. And I want you to all believe that it's okay if things change, because maybe what's on the other side of that door is better. And yeah, that's it. So I think I've cried enough for today. Next week's episode is TBD because I got to nail down some dates here, but I do have some fun and serious and informative episodes coming up. This is episode 5. The fact that I've done 5 episodes of this podcast is bananas to me. And I am so grateful for all of you for listening. And now I have a YouTube channel so you can watch this video. You can watch me cry in real time. You don't have to just listen to me cry. You can actually watch it on a video. And I just really appreciate everyone's amazing feedback. And every time someone said something to me about it, I can't believe it. Like a newer friend of mine says she's, listens to it in the car and like she can't wait for the next episode to come out. And like that just is bananas. Like I, call Alex Cooper for what she is, but like, now she's less one way and now the other. And I just love watching her. And I'm thinking like, if that girl can do it, so can I. I'm like Alex Cooper now, Alex Cooper, not those episodes, but it's like, I feel like I can do a lot of good with this podcast. And I really appreciate you sharing it, listening to it, subscribing, all of the things. And I am just so grateful for everything. It's been a crazy year. It's been a wild year. And I'm so thankful for the people that have stuck by me through it all. And I'm thankful for the new people in my life that continue to elevate my everyday. And I hope something in this episode resonated with you and you'll continue to elevate your everyday. This is Shayna Purcell, and I will see you on the next episode.